Hi there. Welcome. I am Lisa Arana, and I am so excited that you are joining me for today's share. I thought I'd give a little peek into the mini calendars I've been making for myself and then also to give as gifts this year. I'm going to be sharing 4 months in this video, and then I'll give you a peek at the ones I've created so far. So what makes this really easy is this calendar printable. There's 4 calendars on one sheet of paper. You basically print it off at home, and then you cut each sheet into quarters, and that will give you something that's about the size of an A2 card front to decorate each month. So each calendar ends up being 4¼ by 5½. I printed out January, trimmed it down, and then die cut it with a die, and then stamped the cute little wine glasses from Age Gets Better with Wine by Unity Stamp Company. Just stamped those and then colored them with Copic markers, and then I'm just going to pop them up on some layers of pretty pattern paper that I've also die cutted. I love the idea of celebrating the new year, so these are kind of like champagne, like maybe a rosé champagne celebration. And I'm using the Cheers sentiment from Heart of Christmas. And this has a matching die for the sentiment. And I just stamped that in black, and I'm going to glue that directly down onto my card front. I am being aware of all the layers that I'm using. When you use foam tape, they tend to get bulky, and since I'm making 12 calendars, I don't want to get too much bulk. So I'm gluing the cheers down. I die cut the white embossed Happy New Year with the sentiment strip dies from Unity, and then trimmed it down so it fit right underneath that cheers. And then I'm just going to add a few sparkles with some star sequins to finish off the beginning of our year, celebrating January 2024. Next up would be February, and this is, of course, a love month. But I really like the idea of different styles for each month too, so I'm really mixing things up. I die cut that calendar down with the scallops and stitched rectangles, and then I'm doing a bit of a pop out postage stamp die to kind of give this a different feel. I'm using the Empowering Bonds stamp set from Unity Stamp Company. I colored that again with Copics and die cut out just a portion of that rose. I'm going to pop that up with some foam adhesive and then adhere that at a bit of an angle so I can see some of that pattern paper from behind, and it just kind of gives a different feel to this image. I am using some sentiment strips. They're printable sentiment strips, and this one says all you need is love, which I think is general enough for anybody that you might be giving these to. It's not so focused on Valentine's Day. It's just a nice uplifting sentiment. So I'm going to trim that down and then glue them down at an angle. Now I did pop these up, and next time for the rest of the ones that I'm giving away, I'm going to leave these flat. It does get a bit bulky. And then I'm just going to add a sweet little heart enamel dot to kind of finish off February. And here you can get a good look at that pop-up, so we see that hint of pattern paper from behind. Next up is March. Now March is my birthday month, so I thought it'd be fun, to really celebrate the person you're going to be giving these to and highlight their month as their birthday month. So for March, it's mine. And I pulled out the Bevy of Balloons layering stencils, and there's a great bundle that goes with this, but I'm just using the stencils for my project today. And I'm just going to line these up. I masked off my calendar portion just by using a post-it note. Fits over perfectly, and then I can move around my stencil to kind of pick out the balloon sizes that I want. This is meant to be layered on top of each other to kind of fill up an entire A2 card, but since I'm crafting in such a small area, I wanted to pick out the sizes of balloons that would fit. So I started ink blending with speckled egg and then grabbed some washi tape because my stencil was moving on me. And I'm going to do 3 balloons in this color. I chose my colors based on the pattern paper that I'm going to be matting this on, so that's a great way to coordinate your project, to pick the colors from the pattern paper that you're going to be using. So I started out with the speckled egg and just picked 3 of the balloons and put them in a triangle pattern. Next, I used saltwater taffy and just did 2 balloons in the pink color, and then I came in with a third darker teal of broken china and added 3 more balloons, and I felt that was a great coverage for the top of my calendar. Then I just removed that post-it note, and I love the perfect little border it creates for my calendar and that blending. Next, I'm just going to glue that directly down onto my pattern paper. And I have another printable sentiment that says Happy Birthday Month. I'm a big believer in celebrating all month long, so I thought this was a great sentiment for the birthday month. And then I added a few sequins because it is, a party we should be celebrating all month long. And that is March 2024. And finally, for the 4th calendar that I'm working on, I have some pattern paper. I'm using up a lot of the pattern paper I have in my stash. And this one I trimmed down and it had a bit of a hole that I couldn't cover with the die cut. So in order to make that work, I grabbed some other colors that matched my Copic colored little girl. And I'm just going to add those squares to my background. And it'll kind of hide that hole and then also tie in the colors of the girl and her dress into the background papers that I used. Now this girl is called Joyful Echoes. She's by Phyllis Harris at Unity Stamp Company, and I just really love her. I keep using her over and over again. She's just so happy and filled with joy, which I think we should be in April. So I colored her with Copics and then just added a few enamel dots to her die cut panel. And that finishes off the 4 calendars that I created today. I'll give you a peek at the ones I've created so far. This is September, and then we have October, and I'm keeping all my layers really simple and my embellishments fairly simple. Just adding a sentiment or maybe some enamel dots just to make each month a little bit special. This one has some stickles on it to make that one special. Now, I've had questions on what I plan to do to gift these away, and I'll probably create a box, like a gift box that they can be set in and kept all year round. And then I'm going to include either one of these kind of magnet clips that go on the fridge. That way, the person can pull out their month, hang it on their fridge, and then it's easy to replace it with the next month. And then if they want, they can toss those calendars or maybe put it back in the gift box. It's up to them. I'm just really having a lot of fun playing around with each design, knowing that they probably won't be kept for very long. And here's a look at the difference in the bulkiness. I stayed really clean and simple with the first round, and this round I got a little crazy with my foam tape, and I'll probably back off with my next round just so they don't get too bulky in the box. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the look at my calendars so far. I do have 4 more months to go, so I'm sure I'll have an update soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll have all the supplies linked in the description below if you're inspired to create your own calendars this year. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.